AITA for embarrassing my dad on FB over his post about being a single dad. I'm 16, lived with my grandparents my whole life. My mom took off when I was a baby and haven't seen her since. So my dad left me with his parents and they basically raised me. My dad was kind of around but not really. He'd sometimes come to take me to his house for the night every month, drop me off and be gone again. As a kid I used to always ask him how come I can't live with him, and his reason was always because he works a lot. When I got older I sorta saw the truth, which is he likes to live single lifestyle. He's had like a million girlfriends and that's how I ended up with 4 other half-sibs. But you know they still live with their moms, so we only get to hang out when it's my dad's custody time because he just leaves them at my grandparents and doesn't hang out with any of us. We're all used to it by now, but what's annoying is to his girlfriends and friends he acts like he's a hero for being a single dad. He talks about how hard it is, then brings me up specifically because my mom walked out, so it's like he cares for me full time. I usually don't say anything but it bothers me. He made a FB post the other day. It was an older pic of him with me and my brothers the one time he took us to a soccer game 4 years ago. He was talking about sacrifices, but it's worth being a single dad. This made me mad and I commented, you haven't even come to the house in like a month. Which is true, haven't seen him since a few days after Thanksgiving. He deleted his post and got mad at me for embarrassing him. My dad said I was being disrespectful and I don't know what it's like to be a single dad providing for us, so I don't get to act that way. He was really mad about it, and after I thought about it for some time I guess it was petty to embarrass him by calling out his BS, so I wanted to know if it was asshole-ish for doing it. NTA, and good for you. You spoke your truth, which was a verifiable fact. He deleted it because he knows you're right. It's not your fault that the truth makes him look bad, it's his. NTA. Truth hurts, I guess. A once-a-month parent isn't as comparable to single parents who have their kids full-time. He is only sacrificing one night a month to be with you. Though, a question does pop into mind. Does he provide financial support to your grandparents for expenses? Same goes with your half-siblings. I hope he is being financially supportive. Also, does he celebrate holidays and birthdays with any of the kids? But other than that, one night a month is quite isolating, so you are right in calling him out. Also, his post embarrasses itself since he used an old photo. Guess he doesn't have anything more recent? Nah, he doesn't. My grandpa has his own business, so they never needed money from him. He spends money when he takes me out to eat or buys birthday gifts. I'd care about my half-brothers. Holidays not really, but usually he does come by on birthdays. NTA, it sounds like both of your parents abandoned you. Just one of them sees you occasionally when it's convenient for him. It sounds like he's using up to impress women. Fatherly instinct is attractive and he knows it, but he didn't actually have it. He's a deadbeat baby daddy that's painting himself as a single father to get laid. My dad said I was being disrespectful and I don't know what it's like to be a single dad. From the sounds of it, neither does he. NTA. AITA for picking my dog over my pregnant sister. Disclaimer. Throwaway plus not in the USA. This happened about a week ago, but I'm getting a lot of shit from family and friends, so I want an external opinion. Last year my F32 sister, F28, was kicked out of her boyfriend's house and I took her in. We don't have the best relationship, but she was jobless and I was the only relative still living in our country. Surprise, surprise. About 2 months later she figured out she was pregnant. One day she started to complain about my dog. About today I fucked up a 2-year-old half husky, and how it would be bad for her baby and that she wouldn't raise her kid with a wild animal around. My dog is a total sweetheart. I told her it was my house and if she was not comfortable here, she could leave, and my dog was staying no matter what. She kept complaining but I wouldn't change my mind. About 2 weeks ago I had to travel for work to a remote location for a few days. When I came back my dog was not home and my sister claimed she had no idea where it was. We got into a fight because I didn't believe her. I ended up storming off and asked a few neighbors if they had seen it. One told me the last time he saw it was when my sister took him somewhere a few days ago. She uses my Uber account, because she's broke, So when I found an odd trip to the other side of the city, I connected the dots. I drove all the way over there, and after asking around I found my dog in a street restaurant. The owner took him after a blonde pregnant woman left him leashed to a fence. I ended up explaining the situation, paying him like $500, and I got my dog back. When I went back home I kicked out my sister. I gave her enough money for a week in a hotel and sent her on her merry way. She made a huge scandal, and I admit I was a bit too forceful, but I was furious. She called all my family and friends, and they're all telling me I'm an asshole for picking my dog over my sister, and that I should take her back, that I should value that unborn baby more than a silly animal. I think my dog is more important, and what my sister did is unforgivable, but I'll accept your judgment. Update. First of all, thanks for all the awards. I was not expecting gold for this. After reading all your comments I feel better with my decision. I'll try to answer some questions, but I can't read all the comments. I'm sorry if I missed something. 1. I left my dog with my sister because I never thought she would do something like this. She was complaining, and that should have been a huge red flag, but she complains about many things and never do anything else. I just thought it was something she'd forget about in a few weeks. I didn't leave her in charge of my pet in the sense that she didn't need to do anything for it. I have an automatic feeder, and my backyard is big enough for it to go without walkies for a few days. 2. I live in a country where animal protection laws are almost non-existent. It would have been a hassle to get my lawyer to convince the police to get involved. Blame me for not using the proper legal channels, but I just wanted my dog back as soon as possible. I was really lucky my sister was dumb enough to take an Uber, or I probably would have never found my dog. The easiest thing was to pay the guy who found him. I'm gonna sound like an ass for this, but in that part of town people don't take animals for the goodness of their hearts. I was lucky I could convince the guy to let me buy it back. 3. About the bit too forceful part, I mean, I was furious and screamed like a mad woman. She was hysterical too. The neighbors got involved and supported me, and I ended up throwing her the money for the hotel through the taxi window. I'm pretty sure I scared the hell out of the driver. 4. I gave her money because even if I was mad, it felt wrong to throw someone pregnant to the streets with only her clothes and cell phone. At least the money would be enough for her not to starve for a few days until she gets help from someone else. 5. She's not ever living with me again. I'm going no contact with everyone who sided with her. Yes, I explained my POF, but I come from a very conservative family that values human life above all. I've been drilled this in my head my whole life, so it was hard to know if I was making the right choice, which now seems obvious. 6. I don't really know why she broke things off with her boyfriend. The story changes a lot, but I'll tell you, they met when she came to visit me a few years ago, and she ended up moving in with him all in the same month. 7. The arrangement was that she could live with me until the pandemic is over. No one would hire a pregnant woman, plus she works in tourism, which is a dead field right now. Locked because I have to go to work and y'all can't chill. NTA. You didn't choose the dog over your sister. She stole from you and you discovered she couldn't be trusted to live in your house. She got herself kicked out. That silly animal is your responsibility. Your sister's unborn baby is not. NTA. I've rewritten this so many times, I'm so angry. She's a monster. Never let her near your dog again. I would never forgive anyone if they did that to my dog. I can't believe she's going to raise a child, poor kid. I love that the family and friends in these stories are always adamant that someone else take the deadbeat in. NTA. If your family cares so much they can take her in. AITA for telling my in-laws to keep their paws off my mother's house. When my 34F father passed away 6 years ago, we were very well off, so my mom, brothers, 29, 26, and I ended up inheriting a lot. My brothers live abroad and didn't want the hassle of dealing with the properties, so they signed their shares over to me. After discussing with them, I sold off all the properties except for a 1 BHK in an area that is at the outskirts of the city. That apartment was being occupied by a long-time employee of our family business, and we let them live there for free. With my money and some of the family money I bought 2 flats, 3 bed, 3 bath, in a really nice building. It's got amazing security, a gym, a terrace garden and a swimming pool, and is in a really nice location. I took one flat and my mom lives in the other. We are really close to our mom and she's a super chill lady who has been the best mom we could have asked for. Her dad was very controlling and made her miserable, so we are determined to do whatever we can to really let her enjoy her life now. Now the issue: my husband, 36, and I have been married for 3 years. He moved into my flat because his parents and brother live in a 2BR flat and we would have no space. Plus my mill is not a fan of how I'm not subservient to my husband and am independent and run my own business, so we felt the space would be better. Now two things have happened. My Bill, 38, has gotten engaged and our longtime employee has retired and is moving back to his hometown, which means that his flat is going to be empty. I guess husband mentioned it to my Bill, who is now saying that I should move my mother into the 1BR and let them, Phil, Mill, Bill and Fzl, move into my mother's flat. I refused. At most, I could probably let Bill move into the 1BR flat, but he doesn't want it because it's so far away from the city. Well, my Mill and Bill didn't like that I said no, so they went behind my back and asked my mom if she would move. My mom is a sweet lady and she didn't want me to have issues with the in-laws, so she told me that she would be okay with moving. I was fuming mad and I told my brothers and they agreed that they would not want my mom to move. I was going to politely tell them no, but when they came over, I heard my Mill and Bill tell me husband that he was not a man and how could he not support his family. That I was a controlling bitch and my mom was just a widow and didn't need much in life anyway. She should be grieving and not enjoying luxuries. I lost my shit and yelled at them to keep their paws off my mother's house and to get out of mine too. My husband agreed that they were really rude and horrid, but also said that I shouldn't have yelled at his mother and that he was trying to sort this amicably. I was still pissed and told him I wanted nothing to do with people who spoke about me and my mom this way. So AITA for blowing up at my eels and then telling my husband I want nothing to do with his family. Some more context, because everyone is asking. My mom owns the flat she lives in. It's all in her name. I own the flat husband and I live in. The 1BR flat is also in my name because it's technically company property and I'm the CEO. NTA. Your in-laws are unbelievably entitled and callous. You and your husband need to stop supporting them or they will just keep expecting more. I saw in a comment you are paying for Bill's wedding while he doesn't even work. That's just something else. I hate to say it, but it sounds like you guys are really enabling his laziness. He's been given the message that you will fund his lifestyle. He will keep wanting more if you don't put a stop to it. You need to set clear boundaries and you and your husband need to be on the same page about this. I agree actually. Husband and I had been trying to get him moving and to get a job or even start something of his own. I even offered him a job in my company but he declined, saying he didn't want to work for his younger Sil. This is a cultural thing. I didn't push things further because he isn't my brother and it's his life. For the wedding, we agreed to pay before this whole fiasco and now I have told my husband that he can pay for it if he likes, but I will not contribute in any way. NTA, she should be grieving the your husband needs to handle his entitled relatives. I agree, they basically went you're sad so ooh this is mine. Why does this sound so typically Desi to me? NTA op, I'm Indian and relate hard to the fact that your dad was controlling, so you want to do everything you can to make your mom's life enjoyable. You don't owe your in-laws anything. If Bill wants to be a real man he can earn and provide for his family and pay his own goddamn rent. And going behind your back was extremely sneaky. Tell your in-laws to back off and do what you have to protect your mom. Definitely Daisy. Initially my Mill was so proud of having an independent Dill, but as soon as she realized that meant that I made decisions too, she changed her tune pretty quickly. I told my mom also not to entertain any nonsense from them. We've told her to just say that she will have to ask my brothers for permission since the only thing they understand is male authority.